piece of grass, but the seed popped on it. I know that it's grass.
It is real tough to do it, and
Stan and I are going to be there, and it's like, just for the water goes up.
Celebration of life for Lynda Steele on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. There's so many other places you could have been, and here you are, all gathered together. Thank you for coming to honor Lynda, to remember her, to celebrate her, and to all come together because of her. Oh, I think Lynda would love this. She'd probably turn it into a fundraiser. You know, bear with me. I'm just going to take an unselfie here. This is just too good to pass up. We got to get a picture of all of you. Who knows? Maybe we'll post this somewhere. Right. Okay. Lovely. Before we celebrate Lynda Steele, though, I'd like to take a moment and ask each of you to remember her in your own way. And we'll just take a moment of silence, if you will, and just remember Lynda. This is a celebration of Lynda's life. So there might be a little levity and laughter too. I think Lynda would like that. And here we are back at the Crown Plaza Hotel. I think Lynda would get a tickle out of that too. For those of you that do not know, this is the home of the Abilities United Authors Lunch. Every year, Lynda would spend a lot of time here and was always very nervous that the annual event would be wonderful.
Hello. I first met Lynda on St. Patrick's Day, 1973, March 17th. We had both recently arrived in the United States, me from Ireland and Lynda from the UK. My boss at the time, Jim Cox, decided that we needed to meet and took us out to lunch for St. Patrick's Day. He told me later that he was hoping to see some sparks fly between us because of the political differences between Ireland and the UK. Boy, was he wrong. We hit it off immediately, and from that point forward until the day she died, we were best friends. We went through weddings, divorces, births, illnesses, deaths, birthdays, holidays, spring, in other words, life. But we had a good friendship, and I'm going to miss her forever. Lynda, as we look back over time, we find ourselves wondering, did we remember to thank you enough for all you've done for us? For all the times you were by our sides to help and support us, to celebrate our successes, to understand our problems, and accept our defeats. Or for teaching us by your example the value of hard work, good judgment, courage, and integrity. We wonder if we ever thanked you for the sacrifices you made, and for the simple things like laughter, smiles, and times we shared. If we have forgotten to show our gratitude enough for all the things you did, we're thanking you now. And we're hoping you knew all along how much you meant to us. Thank you.
Friends, family, allies, and advocates, it's very good to be with you here today. I'm Sheridan McLeod, the Associate Director for Abilities United, and I've been honored to know and to work closely with Lynda Steele for many years at the organization. We celebrated her when she was with us. We celebrate her today and all days ahead for many things, for her compassion, her determination, her intelligence, her vision, and her laser-sharp focus for social justice. She led us well, and she led us to create change. She led us to see that there were really, in essence, 4 elements required to meaningful and broad-range impact. 1, she led us to see that it takes strong and effective advocacy by families and people with disabilities. 2, she led us to see that it takes legislation and public policy reform, changes that give equal civil rights for all people. 3, she led us to see that it takes research, demonstrating the effectiveness of adopting new approaches, new treatments, new services. And 4, she led us to see that it takes the development of committed and cross-functional partnerships between community leaders, organizations, businesses, the medical and the research community. And when these 4 elements are aligned, she led us to see that social justice, that change, it's almost inevitable. Today I want to read a little something that we shared with her at her farewell party, her last day at Abilities United. We presented Lynda with a new fountain, a water fountain, that would be the crowning jewel of our Heritage Garden at the Charleston campus. And as she sat on a bench, just beaming, sunlight shining, she's sitting next to her new fountain, and this is what we shared with her. Today is a day of celebration and reflection. We are here in the Heritage Garden today because as we begin our celebration for your last day with us, as our captain, our fearless leader, our anchor, we want to present you with a gift. And just as this beautiful, established, and regenerative space rose up from what once was a rocky and struggling piece of land, you too stepped into your role as our executive director during a time of struggle and instability at the agency decades ago. This Heritage Garden, it's indicative of how you've nurtured this agency and supported this rising up, this blooming. Throughout this journey, you've taught us to think about the natural elements and their effect on the environment. Let's take water, for example. Water can be gently flowing, exploring new territory, winding its way along an undetermined path as it creates as it flows. Water can be raging, it can be strong-willed, it can break down dams, it can clear out structures and barriers in its path, it can pound earth into new forms and new shapes. Water can be restorative, it can quench, revive, it can lift up that is withered, tired, and dusty. Water can be many things. It can be relentless, pervasive, persistent, calming, cleansing, coveted, and here in California, in short supply and high demand. It can both grow and regenerate living things and yet also clear out and remove other things. Lynda, thank you for teaching your agency how to move confidently into the future, maintaining the lessons of natural elements. As all of us in the Abilities United community work in, reflect in, and renew in this beautiful Heritage Garden, we will hear the water flowing from your fountain, and we will know how we must move forward into our future. Thank you for being our captain, our anchor. And Lynda, we want to talk for a moment about tomorrow and what will be here, what you've left, what you've instilled here. Values-based leadership, based in collaboration, strength-based development, persistence, patience, steadfast, explorative, innovative. It's the power of community. It's the power of alliances, of collective voices and collective abilities. It's the power of service, egoless, mission-driven, uncompromising service. It's a vision. It's a vision of equality and opportunity. Like a thirst that can't quite be quenched, a hunger that can't be satiated, a pool as strong as the gravitational forces of the moon and the sun on our Earth's oceans. Her legacy is all around us. And lastly today, I would like to proudly share that our board of directors have unanimously approved the dedication of our own heritage garden in Lynda's honor. It will now be called the Lynda J. Steele Heritage Garden. We very much look forward to inviting you all at a later date to join us to celebrate this dedication. Thank you, Lynda, and thank you to all of us.
My name is, okay,
Let's get this fixed properly. You want to hold the mic and maybe that'd be better.
okay,
Sorry.
all right. Hello, my name is Tracy Jarrett. I am 43 years old. I was 4 months old when I started going to the implant program at CAR. I first met Lynda in 1993 when she joined the agency. I was 21 years old, going to Patty High School and going to the after-school rec program and swimming at the Better Rights Swim Center. I started swimming when I was 5 years old. Because of Lynda, my new programs were Stunning and Abilities United that I participated in now. One is Employment Services. I worked at Shoreline Movie Theater and the snack bar. Now I work 5 days a week at lunchtime in a dorm at Stanford University. Another is independent living skills. I live independently in my own apartment with support from Cassie, my Abilities United buddy twinner. Also, our classes. I took art lessons when the program started in 2002. I like painting pictures as gifts for my family. One of my paintings was on the cover of Abilities United annual report. Another program Lynda helped to develop is computer education, and I started going to the computer lab in 2005. I learned to email and Skype, now FaceTime with my sisters and family and friends. Lynda always had time for a chat when I was at the agency. I miss her friendly hellos. She taught me how to be an advocate for myself. She was the best longtime friend. I miss her.
One love, one heart, let's get together and feel alright. Children crying, hear the children crying. Thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel want to ask, is there a place for the hopeless sinner who has heard all the time just to say his own one love, one love, one heart? Let's get together and feel alright, as it was in the beginning, so it will be in the end. Say thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. One more thing, let's get together to fight this holy Armageddon. So when the man comes, there will be no doom. Have pity on those whose chances grow thinner, taking a hiding place from the Father of creation, saying, one love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. I'm praying to you, mankind. Oh Lord, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright.
This is a letter from family in the UK. It is actually from Victoria for the family, and I'm going to read what she has written. And it's a little bit hard to skip parts because it all sort of flows. And if it's something that has been said from those of you on the stage, please forgive me, but I think it will unite better if I read it as it is. Hello, Lynda's dear friends. You all were very dear and much loved. Lynda had a rare charisma that attracted wonderful, long-term friends who provided her a secure environment in which to work and play. She certainly enjoyed the play. Seldom did we speak together without her telling me of the great social event she was looking forward to, or one that had just been completed. Trips to Tahoe were a favorite, and of course, Hawaii. And she loved English afternoon tea. You all know of Lynda's working history. Her job was her life, and you all helped her to succeed by your strong support. She delighted in the recognition of the work she and her team accomplished. To have received Woman of the Year award was a well-deserved public acknowledgement of her efforts. And she so enjoyed the ceremony involved and reunited with past colleagues. Her Tall Tree Award was also extremely meaningful for her. Lynda was the only child of Bob and Joyce Steele. Bob had been an engineer in the RAF during the Second World War and continued in the electrical industry thereafter. Like Lynda, Joyce was a very bright student. Joyce's education was sadly curtailed by the outbreak of the war. They lived in the town of Orpington, which is in the county of Kent, quite near to London. Lynda went to the local grammar school, which had a very good academic reputation, and from there earned a place at Manchester University, one of our best institutions. That was no mean feat for a girl from a working class background in the 60s. This move must have been very liberating for Lynda, even though they were a very close family unit who doted on one another. When she was young, her family would visit her maternal grandparents for holidays. They lived in a small holding in the village near Canterbury. We'd go strawberry picking, play in the fields and woods, or take trips to the seaside to swim and collect shell food to cook for tea. It was idyllic. As we grew older, our contact lessened, although Aunt Joyce always kept us informed of Lynda's progress. When Joyce was widowed, the physical distance between them became harder for Joyce to bear. Her California trips to stay with Lynda and to meet all your lovely people were so important to her, and she would talk about them endlessly. When her mother became very ill, Lynda came back to look after her until the end. Those were tough months, but it illustrated the love that had always united them. Lynda's trips here continued, and we would lunch together when she visited. Last time we met, her retirement was imminent, and she had so much she wanted to do. With her set of racy wheels, her house renovated, and her health well under control, the world was her oyster. And she was so looking forward to a fun-filled life, plus the challenge of working with big wave development near her. So much done, so much to do, including an opportunity to tackle American politics as a new voting citizen. Our Lynda was an amazing lady who made a huge difference to so many lives, and we're all very lucky to have been known and loved by her. Thank you on behalf of her family here for your devoted efforts to provide her a heartfelt farewell. Signed by Veronica, Maureen, and Bill, her cousins, Joan, her aunt, Jane, Joanne, and Serena, her second cousins.
I first met Lynda in 1983. I was 23 and working as a nursing officer in a very large mental institution called Leybourne Grange Hospital in Westmoreland, Kent. It held about 2,000 people, most of whom had been admitted to the hospital as children. Because in those days, that was what parents were advised to do when children were born with disabilities or exhibited difficult behavior. Government policy changed in the early 1980s. It now directed that children would no longer be admitted to these ugly, uncaring institutions. The institutions would close, and the money saved would be used to transfer their residents into the community to live independently or with support. Around that time, Lynda was appointed as the director of Midway Community Living Services, and she appointed me as her assistant, co-director of strategy and operations. We found we shared a great passion for community services and a total disdain for the old Victorian institutions. We were charged with the responsibility of moving all the institutional residents to live in the community in which they were born. My connection with Lynda was instant. At last I felt like I found my big sister. Lynda and I spent the next 6 years working side by side every day. We laughed a lot and fought like lionesses for the services we believed people with disabilities should receive. It was always people first and their disability second. No challenge was too great for Lynda and her team, and under her direction, we managed to close the mental institution 2 years ahead of schedule. We moved 2,000 people into small residential homes that catered to no more than 3 or 4 individuals. It was a huge success. Lynda returned to the United States in 1989, and I took up her role as director, staying in that role for a further 20 years. How would I describe Lynda? Beside being a true loyal friend and confidant, she was a tireless fighter for the underdog, someone with great integrity and extraordinary empathy. Lynda did something that we all strive to do, and very few of us manage. She actually made a difference. The world has lost an extraordinary woman. I will always miss my sister, my friend Lynda. God bless, and may we love and cherish her forever.